Better late than never, guys. Better late than never. I know I am late. I was just in the gym training one of my young up and coming beginner boxers. Train them a few times a week, and schedule got a little crazy today, and so I'm here, man. But I just went ahead, shot it on here. Better late than never. Yesterday we was on here for 4 hours. Unfortunately, that episode right now, let me go ahead and pull out my other laptop. That episode right now has been blocked because we did the film study and I got a bunch of copyright stuff. So wow, they're still processing that trim. That is crazy. I'm trying to trim the video so I can go ahead and be able to air it. There was some really good moments on there yesterday too. Um, but unfortunately, I'm freaking blocked from posting it because of doing that, that what's that called? What did we do yesterday? We did the film study. And the film study ended up messing it all up, man. So let me see something real quick. See details. I've been trying to trim these details for a few times already, but still doing it, man. I don't know, man. It takes quite a long time to trim something from YouTube. So it is what it is, man. But if you guys were in here yesterday, you saw that we was on here for 4 hours. We went hard. I'm going extra hard on these pause because you already know I got the Black Friday sale out early. And a lot of people have been showing support. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been showing support. We got the CA Black Friday 75% off all courses, guys. The bundle packages are already marked down. So you're already saving money off of the bundle. And then on top of that, we're going ahead and we're going to put you and we're going to enroll you for free to the CA boxing community as a VIP community that I'm starting next year, early next year, and it's going to be for all my people who are members, right? And the membership is going to be a monthly subscription, but you guys are going to actually get entered into that for free just for going ahead and purchasing for Black Friday. So I don't have all the details to the community, but the community is going to have live streams. It's going to be like a Facebook community where you're going to be able to post your training and ask questions about your form technique and chime in. And we're going to be like a little secret society of people who we all support each other. And it's going to be for the greater good of everybody who really wants to improve their boxing. Of course, I'm going to bring my resources that I can to pull up. We're going to do live streams like this. No days off November eventually is going to come to an end, right? We're closing in on the last few days. So for the people who's been showing up here consistently, I want to say thank you guys so much. And the people who've been watching this afterwards, I want to say thank you guys so much because we've been keeping this going. We've been keeping this alive. You know what I mean? Whether we got 10 people in there, 30 people, 50 people, 100 people. So it's been dope. It's been a lot of fun. We've been talking boxing. You know what I mean? We definitely been talking boxing. We got the big fight this weekend. We got Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. That's going to be an exciting fight. Tomorrow I'm going to have to talk about the weigh-in. Saturday we're going to go post and pre-fight. And the whole time that we're doing all of that, the CA Black Friday sale is going to be out. You're going to save 75% on all the courses. And it's just, you guys are going to come up just off of that. And we're going to do these Q&As and we're going to talk boxing right now. I want to say what's up to the people in here. What's going on? King, Madness King, what's going on? My man Joshua Tate, don't miss a beat. What's up, Coach? I'm in here. Yo, Joshua, thank you so much. Neil Martin, what's up, Coach? What's going on? Joshua Tate said, I should have never suggested the film study. Dude, they literally I'm glad they didn't flag my channel. Cause sometimes when you violate certain YouTube codes, they flag your channel. And once you get flagged, now you're under surveillance, and any other mistake you make after that. I didn't get flagged, but I got the video is no longer able to be seen unless I cut some stuff out. But I tried. It's just taking forever. I don't know if it's even going to be able to work. But man, we had some really good Q&A yesterday, man. Some really good moments, like moments on that live that I really wanted to keep so I could purpose some of those little clips because there was some really, really good Q&As, and we brought some people on. It was just a dope 4 hours. I was on there for 4 hours. So that tells you how much fun we had yesterday with this, man. I mean, 4 hours sitting in front of here talking with y'all. It's like literally we were hanging out in one room, but it's all good, man. You know, I learned, you live and you learn, right? Phil Gonzalez, hey coach, thanks for everything. Thank you, man. I appreciate you showing love, and I appreciate you coming in here and saying that, man. I appreciate it. What's good? Question still stands. Have you seen the knock about Harper? By no, I have not. I have not seen it, man. And I would put it up. I would pull it up right now, but I'm not gonna go ahead and get this flag on my. I'm not gonna get flagged no more for this, man. Garrett Groover, we in here. Big shout out to Garrett Groover, man. Garrett Groover's been keeping the chats lit. Garrett, man, you want to be my moderator, Garrett? Man, you're doing a good job in the chat, keeping the chat, man. I might need a moderator, somebody who I could count on, man, a moderator, especially when we get busy on busy nights. You know what I mean? You know, my man Nick, Coach Ant, what's good? What up, my guy? Phil Gonzalez, finally Crawford off the bench. Yeah, man, we've been waiting to see Crawford. Crawford is arguably the best fighter next to Canelo and Tyson Fury and all these guys, and he's up there with everybody. I mean, there's not a fighter up there, Terence Crawford, you can't put his name in the conversation. So we get to see what Terence can do against a real veteran like Sean Porter, who's battle tested, who's shown that he belongs at the world class level. This Saturday he's going to show a lot. Faith House, 75% off in-person training too. Oh man, actually, I'm not doing that, man. Actually, I might, but I'm gonna have to up the price on in-person training first. You know what I'm saying? So maybe if I up the price, then I'll go ahead and give you the 75% off. But nah, I'm not doing that. I don't really train people in person as often as I used to, but I still do. But I'm definitely not doing 75% in-person training, unfortunately, right now. But I definitely got the courses. And the courses, you're going to get a whole lot more than you're going to get from me in one session. I can tell you that because the courses are just packed with information that's going to last you a lifetime, to be honest with you. Gomez, what's going on? Greetings from LA. What's up? What's up, brother? Garrett Groover needs to make a cameo appearance already. Right. Eugenie, man, all them nice, kind words you said and all that plug and play you did for my for my courses yesterday. I can't even use those testimonials now, man. I was gonna have you all over social media. But yeah, those film studies messed me up, man. Sonny Jim, what's up from AZ? What's going on, Sonny? Gary Group said 80% off personal sessions Black Friday sale. All right, you know what? You're fired. You can't be the moderator no more. I gave you an opportunity, and this is how you treat the opportunity. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and terminate you from moderation right now. You know what I'm saying? You had something going yesterday, but today I really don't know. Mr. Just Because, just watching on your phone, no sound. It's literally a 22-second clip. Then give us your opinion. Harper knocked out is what you need to search. All right, let me take a quick look. I got you. I got you. See what I do? You guys ask for a request, it gets done. All right, so boom, I got the phone out. Harper gets knocked out. All right, we got it going. This is good positioning in the ring for Terry Harper. She doesn't want to get back. Checking it out right now. I seen this girl weigh in, but I never seen her fight the black girl. I kept seeing her weigh-in pictures. Never seen her fight. Never seen any of these females, to be honest. So I don't know these ladies. Hit her with the right hand coming in. Oh, she stepped in, got clipped with the right hand. Let me look at it one more time. She walked into it, man. She walked directly into it. She came rushing in with no jab. At least it didn't look like she threw a jab. She did throw a jab, but she threw a lazy jab, and she got clipped right over the top. Her hand wasn't in position to block. Yep. She came in reckless. She came in jumping in with her jab. She didn't really control range with it. She just stepped right in, recklessly with a jumping type of a jab. Both feet were literally off the ground as she threw it. She gets clipped with the right hand on the way in. Basically, a perfectly timed shot. That's the kind of shot that you typically would land when somebody throws like a right hand to your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, a jab to your body. If someone's throwing a jab to the body, typically you time that shot right over the top. She did it to the head. You could do it to the head as well. But the girl came in jumping in. Harper jumped in like she didn't really she didn't like pop that jab. Like she was just like she got clipped. She's lucky that referee came in and saved her life, man. That referee did a good job. Kudos to the ref. But yeah, man, it happens like that. You can't jump in stepping in recklessly like that. You guys want to know what we're talking about? Harper gets knocked out on YouTube. King Madness, I want to thank you for all the work you have done. You have a lot of great pointers. It's great pointers that helped me along the way in my boxing. I am currently 11-0 backyard boxing, and I have my first amateur fight. I am 39, going on 40. An amateur organization doesn't want a brother with 40 years old. It's 40 too old to get into boxing. People say I should go pro. Well, the problem is, as a 40-year-old, okay, now I could give you the short answer and I could give you the long answer, but the short answer is as a 40-year-old, you can't box as an amateur no more. 40 is the cap. They actually just pushed it up. It used to be, um, it might have been 35, but they pushed it to 40. So you can actually be, I think it was 32. No, shit. I forget, man, what it used to be. But Master Divisions now is actually 40. So they actually extended it because before you couldn't even be 40 and fight in the amateurs, but now you could. You could fight up until 40 years old. So like if you're trying to go to the Olympics and you're 33 or 32, you still have a shot because you actually can compete in the Olympics at 36, stuff like that. Like my friend Christina Cruz, who now is professional, she was actually going for it. She was going for 2020 and she's 36 years old. She finally turned pro at 37, but you're talking about or 38. She's 38. She had her first pro fight, but she's also been boxing since she was like 19 years old and has traveled the world and has competed at the highest level of female amateur boxing or any amateur boxing. To be honest, she done fought anybody, the who's for the last freaking decade and a half. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, to be a backyard boxer and then go for your first amateur fight and then go straight into professionals, if let's just say you're very very good and you want to be a pro at 40, you're gonna have to find some sort of a marketing niche, right? So like Kimbo, for instance, is a good example, right? So like Kimbo, he was knocking guys out in his backyard, and then he went into MMA. He actually won a couple of fights in MMA, right? He choked out Ray Mercer. He fought a couple of guys, and Ray Mercer, who was a world champion boxer when he was in his heyday. Kimbo literally beat him in like a minute or two or something in the first round, like you know what I mean. But he choked him out. He didn't even knock him out, and he's known for knocking guys out. So he did some MMA stuff, and then he went ahead and he started his professional boxing career, and he did very well. And then, of course, we know, unfortunately, he passed away. But Kimbo had a niche, right? He was knocking out a bunch of people in the backyard, and then he went to MMA, and he marketed himself so well on the internet, knocking people out on the street, that he was able to make his way into the fight game because he had something to offer the promoters. He had something to offer them guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I talk about with a lot of people who want to know about, can I fight at an older age? This has been an ongoing question that I've gotten every single day when I come on to my live about older fighters. Can you fight as an older fighter? You have to think of it as a business. What are you going to provide for the promoter? What are you going to do for the promoter? Why would they want to spend their time marketing you or putting you on a card? It's not about you being the best fighter. It's not about none of that. This isn't like I'm the best and they're going to treat me right. Look at Bubu Andrade. Bubu Andrade is a fantastic professional fighter. He's fighting tomorrow, I believe. Maybe. Is it tomorrow, guys? Put in the chat. He barely fights. He was one of the best freaking amateurs over a decade ago, and he was a very good up and coming prospect. He's still undefeated, champion. He barely fights. Why? Because the promoters aren't super excited about him, right? So it's not about uh how good you are. It's about what do you bring as far as a marketing goes. What do you bring as far as selling tickets? And that's what people need to understand about boxing. It's not just about skills and, oh, I could fight. No, no, no. It's about, can you fill the seats? Why do you think Jake Paul does so well? He can fill the seats. You feel what I'm saying? You got Jake Paul out here making more money than freaking guys who dedicated their whole life to boxing. Why? Because he could fill the seats. I mean, a lot of guys who are good fighters, man, unfortunately, they're terrible at marketing themselves. They're horrendous at it. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They're too cool to talk. Now, I ain't talking. I ain't doing that interview. I can't tell you how many young kids I used to be like, yo, do that interview. Like, man, what I look like doing that interview? You look like an idiot not doing it because nobody gonna know who the hell you are. You see what I'm saying? You have to understand business. So that's the problem with fighters today. They don't understand business. So King Man are you too old? Listen, I can't tell you what God got planned for you. You see what I'm saying? But what I can tell you is what's realistically happening in today's time. And the truth and the fact of the matter is you are old for professional boxing. And if you're going to try to go the professional boxing route, what do you bring to the table other than being a good fighter? You see what I'm saying? So the short answer is yes, you're too old. The long, complicated answer is if you can figure out a way to get people interested in seeing you fight as a professional, then you have a chance. But you got to figure that out. You got to figure that out, right? I hope that helps, brother. North Philly on the check-in, Mint 22, what's going on? Darion Dean, what's up, coach? What's good? Who had better feet, Camacho or Purnell? I'm going to say Camacho. Camacho, man. Hector Camacho. Big shout out and rest in peace to Hector Camacho. Very underrated in the history books. Fantastic boxer. Very good on his feet, you know. Purnell was more of a head movement guy. You know what I mean? Make you miss standing in front of you. Camacho was more lateral movement. So I'm going to say Camacho. XAO, what's going on? I don't want to say your name wrong, champ, but what's up, Master of Boxing, Coach Ant? Thank you, my brother. Yeah, I'm doing them now. They're called coaching calls. I don't have them up on my site. I'll probably get that up in the next couple of days. So go to my site in the next couple of days and look for the coaching calls. But again, the coaching calls are not on sale. The only thing on sale right now is my courses. 75% off all the courses, all the bundles, and you get automatically enrolled to the CA boxing community that's going to launch next year, where it's going to be something similar to this, but even better because we're going to cover more things, right? It's not just going to be live streams, it's going to be different stuff. Uh, so if you're looking for, some really good information for a really good price, probably a lot of the questions you want to ask are going to be already on these courses. I highly suggest the courses. But yeah, but take a look, man. Be on the lookout for coaching calls. That's gonna be what is gonna be called. It's no longer called Zoom sessions, but it's basically the same thing, right? It's gonna be basically a consultation slash training session. It's really whatever you want to do. Like last year when I was doing a lot of Zooms, what I was doing was I would just basically let the person who paid for the Zoom tell me what they want out the session. So somebody would say, "Yo, man, um, I want to learn this, or I want to focus on this." I literally had kids come up like this, no lie, not even gassing, come up with a book, but like, just came to take notes. Can you just answer my questions? And I used to be like, yeah, absolutely. So, that's how I really run the sessions. The coaching calls are basically just mini consultations. If you want to work out, get your jump rope. You got a heavy bag in your garage, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Or if you just want to learn by speaking to me or pick my brain, we do that too. If you was in California, I would go train from you, G. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the kind words. Hernandez, what's up, coach? What's going on? Listen, just because that was a great shot. She definitely landed a great shot. What's up, coach? What type of focus mitts would you recommend? I'm looking at speed mitts, Cuban styles. What are you prefer mitts? The only brand that I'm shouting out right now is Heavy Hitters. So big shout out to the Heavy Hitters. That's the only brand I'm shouting out. There's a lot of good brands out there, but if they're not cutting a check, I'm not shouting them out. So big shout out to Heavy Hitters. They got some nice equipment too. I'm not just saying that because they cut a check, but I want to say that, I do like their equipment. So check out Heavy Hitters right now. You know what I mean? They got some good gloves and they got some good mitts. They got different kinds of mitts. But I can't sit here and represent nobody's brand. You know what I'm saying? But you just have to do your research. You know what I mean? If you don't want to check out Heavy Hitters, you got to do your research. But I recommend Heavy Hitters, man. I use them in my videos. So check them out. Is it bad to have a square boxing stand? Should the half man not be used most of the time? No, no, it's not bad to have a square boxing stand if you know what you're doing and you don't want to be square at all times. Your position is going to change. I made a video a long time on YouTube. I think you guys should check it out. I think you should check it out, Joshua, since you asked. It's called Positions. One of my favorite videos I made at the time. It's crazy that I forgot that I even made the video till you just brought this up. But you got three positions basically, right? You got the middle, you got slipping over your lead side, and you got slipping over your rear side, right? And you're gonna constantly change these positions, you know what I mean? So sometimes I'm gonna be in a half a man, sometimes I'm gonna square up, sometimes I might be setting a trap, sometimes I might be slipping. Look, I'm slipping like this, I'm square. You know what I mean? But I might be setting up a right hand lead, I might be setting up something to roll under, so I can come back with something else. So you know what I mean? You had guys like Tyson who were square, so they were balanced on both sides with big hooks and uppercuts. But the half a man is the preferred starting point. You know what I mean? You keep that shoulder bladed, you know what I mean? You're able to do a lot. But if I gotta go ahead and rip and square up for a second, I got no problem squaring up if I have to. So it's just about changing the positions. It's kind of like your lead hand. Your lead hand isn't always going to be low. Your lead hand is not always going to be high. Where your body's not always going to be in a complete angle, and your body's not always going to be square. Things are going to be adjusted as you box regularly throughout the session. You see what I'm saying? Or throughout the fight, or throughout whatever. So the problem is when you stand square and don't know why you're standing square, right? So if I'm just standing like this, boop, boop, getting hit in the face, right? That's the problem. You know what I mean? But if I got a plan in motion, if I'm over here for a second just to get something off, or you know what I mean, just to get something off, then that's a whole different story. Big shout out to Professor Cuts. What's up, coach? I'm working, man. I'm glad to see that, man. I hope your son's doing great, man. Good barber, good boxer. Kid's a good boxer, man. That's what's up. Glad to see you in here. Florida in the building. Big shout out to Florida, man. Lord knows I used to live in Florida, man. I love Florida. One of my favorite places in the world. You know what I mean? But you gotta be careful in Florida. You can get caught up in Florida. You gotta be real careful. Florida, you can't let the palm trees fool you in Florida. I know that for a fact. You can't let them fool you. What are your thoughts on someone who has their toe facing their opponent as opposed to at a 45-degree angle? The boxing stance, we teach the toe heel alignment, front foot at 1 o'clock, back foot at three. For me, that's just a natural stance. Um, I don't like the foot completely straight. I like that foot slightly turned onto an angle like that, but I'm used to it, is what I learned. I think when your foot's pointed a little forward, you know what I mean? I gotta be honest, man. I never really understood the complete reasoning on why we learn it that way, but that's how I learned it, and I believe it's for the balance. I believe it's for the balance. So for me, um, I just feel better. You feel more angled off. You're able to fight in that half a man better when you're doing it. You know what I mean? Than if your foot's straight, right? I can kind of blade my body because we're fighting square. I told you that you can go square for moments, but if I'm gonna be on that half a man, right, I gotta be able to be on that angle as well. So being on that 45-degree angle gives you the ability to just do more, I feel. But for the most part, I don't keep the toe straight at the opponent ever. You know what I mean? Not even when throwing a jab. Cold Canada in the building. Who's your favorite YouTube reporter? Ellie Setback, Fight Hype, Fight Hub, and big shout out to my man Punch Drunk, Mr. Moonshine. I've had him on here a few times. Um, so big shout out to Moonshine, man. That's my guy. That's my guy. That's who I'm favorites with, man. The guys who support me, the guys who I know personally that support me. Now I know these guys, but me and Moonshine got a different relationship. I'm about to call Moonshine real quick. Hold up. Mr. Moonshine ain't pick up, man. I might have to take him off the list. Nah, I'm just kidding. If he calls me back, man, he calls me back. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't really watch the reporters, man. You know what I mean? But if I'm going to shout anybody out, it's the people who support me, man. That's something that I hope you guys can get out of this live today is support the people who support you. You know what I'm saying? Support the people who show you love, the people who give you value. You know what I mean? That's what I hope you guys get from that. I'm not a big guy who I'm gonna shout out people and shout out other, people who I don't deal with, man. If my man got a store and he's selling something, I'm paying full price. You know what I mean? If my friend is doing this, then that's who I'm supporting. If my guys are they're willing to invest into me and they want me to represent their brand, then that's who I'm shouting out. That's who I'm representing. So just something for you guys to take with you. Take it for what it's worth. That's how I get down. I support those who support me. If you support me, I'm with you 100%. You know what I mean? And for those who don't support me, that's fine. But I gotta always show love to the people who show love to me. So big shout out to Mr. Moonshine, Punch Jump Boxing. He keeps everybody updated on what's going on. Check out his channel. De La Hoya had his lead foot pointing forward. I never took that much of account. Thinking about it, he probably did. I don't know if he did at all times. I don't know, man. It's just like that's one of those things. That's one area in boxing that I just took the tradition that was passed down to me, never questioned it. It feels very natural to me. You know what I mean? A lot of things that I do in boxing feel natural to me, and that's what I stick with. And keeping that front foot pointed at that 45-degree angle just feels better to me. I've tried this before because I had an MMA fighter say that, and he was like he keeps the front foot forward because he feels he gets more torque on the hook. For me, I still get good torque on the hook with the front foot on a 45-degree angle. I just feel naturally more mobile with it. Every time I don't look at the ground and I'm just doing what I'm doing, and then I look down, my feet are like that, front foot at 1 o'clock, back foot at 3 o'clock for my orthodox fighters. I mean, that's what feels good. Toe heel alignment, that's what feels good. I've stuck with it. I've never really questioned that. That's not something that I put too much questioning about. Is what all the good fighters I know that use do it. So for me, that's what I do. De La Hoya, I'm gonna take a peek at his feet to see if he did that at all times. I'm sure he did do it from time to time. I don't know though. You know what I mean? Malky Pablo, what's up, OG? What's going on, Malky man? How you doing, champ? What happened to Chad Ochocinco, man? I get this question so much, man. Listen, I only reason I'm answering this because you're asking it, but in reality, man, it's whatever, dude. Like Ochocinco and me, we never knew each other before that, and we don't know each other now. I didn't have a problem with him before that, and we don't have a problem now. Words were exchanged that day. We never got violent. We never got physical at the little words that we had with each other. Um, I salute him for going ahead and just taking his shot at greatness by fighting on a big stage. I'm sure that wasn't easy for him considering he's not a boxer. And he challenged me, but I don't think it was a real challenge. I followed up with Leonard Ellaby. Leonard Ellaby, I followed him with him twice. I got an interview on my channel speaking to him on camera about it. And then I followed him up with him afterwards. Never got a response. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I got no ill will toward it. I'm not thinking about it. So it's whatever with me. You know what I mean? The people who really know me know that, you know what I'm saying, this is what I do for real. And he's actually cool with Tevin Farmer, who, Tevin Farmer is my obviously a guy I train. And him and Tevin Farmer seem to be pretty friendly on Twitter, and I'm sure they got each other's phone number and stuff like that. So maybe Tevin gave him a talk. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, though, I ain't thinking about it. Big shout out to Chad Ochocinco. I got my own thing going on. One thing I'm not trying to do is be that guy who's clout chasing or chasing him, trying to put myself out there every 5 minutes so I could try to get famous off of him. You know what I mean? I'd rather do it the hard way. I'd rather do it the real way, the way I've been doing it. And if it happens, it happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel about that. What's the difference between how you train amateurs and pros for a fight? The difference between pros and amateur for a fight is, for one, amateurs are only fighting 3 rounds. So that's the number one thing. So we don't have the same amount of time to worry about strategy and to worry about sitting down on punches and taking our time, right? We got to let our hands go. We only got a certain amount of time. It's going to feel much more like a sprint than a marathon. So for the amateurs, it's about getting off. You got to get your hand. You got to run them numbers, like I like to say. You got to run your hands. You know what I'm saying? And for professional boxing, you know what I mean, it's a little bit more about punch placement. And even though we still, you know what's crazy? I never really changed how I trained my amateurs. I tried to train them the same way I train my professionals. The only difference is I focus more on, we got to get our hands off. That's the only difference. Let's get our hands off, man. Let's run them hands. We got to. Other than that, though, a lot of the stuff is the same. It's basically the same process. You know what I'm saying? The more rounds my amateurs can do, the more rounds I'll make them do. So even though we're only fighting 3 rounds, and even though I may have a criteria of, okay, so we're fighting 3 rounds, I need you to be able to spar at least 6. But let's just say I get an athlete who's an amateur and he's in extremely good physical condition. He's in the same condition as a world champion professional that I got. Depending on his age and his skills or whatever, I'm not going to hold him back. I'm going to let him do what he does. I'm going to let him work hard. We're going to put in more rounds if we could. You know what I'm saying? But the criterias are just a little bit different because we don't have to fight that many rounds. So my goal is to get my amateurs into the best physical shape that they can, get them the best sparring that they can so they can get the most experience. You know what I'm saying? The sparring is also a little bit different too. So another thing that I would do with amateurs that I wouldn't do with a pro is, with my amateurs who can handle themselves, I'm looking for the best work. So, like, for instance, when I say the best work, I mean, if you are an amateur of mine, and let's just say you're open class, and let's just say you've already got enough experience under your belt, then I want to know who's the who's of the area, and that's who we want to box. You see what I'm saying? So okay, oh that kid over there, we want that work. Now with the professionals is a little different, right? You want to get guys that are going to emulate the guy that you're going to be fighting. You know what I'm saying? You kind of want to protect your pros a little bit by in a sense of you don't want your pros getting beat up in sparring, so you want to get them the right work because you don't want them to get injured before the fight. It's different, right? You're fighting a professional fight, you're fighting for money now, so you can't have certain things happen in training that an amateur might be able to risk a little bit more, because amateur boxing is amateur boxing. You're not getting paid. You're doing this for experience. So we want experience as an amateur. So we'll take some more risks. You know what I'm saying? With an amateur, not ridiculous risk. I still protect my amateurs. I'm not putting in my kid who can't beat another kid who's extremely talented and extremely dangerous. We're not taking that kind of work unless they're willing to help us, by not trying to hurt us, but at the same time give us some movement. And I would only do that with people who I have relationships with, other coaches that I trust, that would tell me, yeah, my kid ain't gonna hurt your kid. Okay, cool, then we'll take that. But if my kid's already getting to that breaking point where it's like, okay, we're going for the big tournaments, we're shooting, we're striving for the stars, then we want all the work. We want it all. You know what I mean? We're not ducking nobody. We want the best quality amateur boxing work we can get, and we might even mix in some pros. So that's the little bit of a difference there. But we're more focusing on sprinting our guys. We're more focused on heavy back conditioning drills that are going to elevate the heart rate, to get our guys going. The sparring, we got to run our hands a little bit more, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Little adjustments. But at the end of the day, it's still boxing. It's just like also like when I used to train my 10 and 11-year-olds. I would train my 10 and 11-year-olds different than I would train a 15-year-old. And that is because the 10 and 11-year-olds only fight in 1 minute. And it took me a while to understand that and learn that. When I first got Marshall, for instance, Marshall, who's in a lot of my videos, when he was 8, 9, 10 years old, I used to take him and make him spar 3-minute rounds the same way I was having the older guys do it. I never took a kid to an amateur tournament before in my whole life that young. I got him at 8 years old. And I never took a kid to an amateur tournament that young. He was in there trying to box like a pro, and he was doing okay, and he was landing the better shots, but he wasn't used to the work rate because these kids were used to fighting, letting their hands go, letting their hands go, letting their hands go, letting their hands go. So then I had to retrain. We cut the rounds down. Some spars with only 1-minute rounds so he could learn. In 1 minute, if you don't let your hands go, then you're going to lose the round. I don't give a shit how good you could box. You only got 1 minute. So I would make him spar 1-minute rounds. Once I learned that system, that it wasn't the same as training a older fighter who fights for 2 minutes to 3 minutes, 14, 15. Now you're going to like a minute and a half. Then you get to 2. And then eventually these guys are boxing 3-minute rounds, just like pros, 3 rounds. So those are the differences: the time limit, the amount of rounds, and the kind of endurance you got to have. You got to have more of a sprinter's type endurance as an amateur. Sergeant Rock Ray, what's up? Coach A, can you make a bundle for Philly Show Footwork and how to fight unorthodox bundle? I'm buying them today. I got your other programs already. Okay, so you would like the Philly Show, the Footwork. So all you have to do is check those out. You're still gonna get the 75% off. You don't need to get them in a bundle. All you have to do is do 75% off, purchase it, and then do that for all 3 bundles. You're automatically going to get added to the CA boxing community that we're launching next year. So you're good to go. So just go ahead and purchase them like that. You know what I'm saying? The 75%, guys, goes to all my courses, regardless if they're in a bundle or not. I just bundled up certain things like Defensive Wizard, because that's going to be Defensive Principles 101 and the Philly Show. Make a Miss, Make 'em Pay, which is the defensive and the how to set traps and counter punch. And I think the Philly Show's in that one too. And then you have the complete, the master boxing bundle, which is all my courses, right? So basically, those bundles were just made because they made sense for those courses to get put together. A lot of people say, "Hey, man, what do you recommend? What other courses do you recommend with this particular course?" I used to get that question a lot. So since I used to get that question a lot, I was like, let me go ahead and put together the courses that make the most sense to that they correlate with each other. That's the reason I designed those bundles. I probably might make a few more in the future, but for right now, everything on the site still you're getting the massive savings of 75% off, and you're getting the immediate enrollment to the CA boxing community. If you go ahead and you purchase, you don't have to worry about any particulars emails for the community. After Black Friday is done, then I'm gonna go ahead and update all that stuff. So just know that you're already in. You know what I mean? You'll get an email once everything is in. Great response, Coach. Thanks. Thank you, Nick. Man, I appreciate that. That was great info. Thanks, Coach. No problem, brother. I'm glad I could help. Your bundles are way cheaper, Coach. Hope you can make that happen if that's not asking you for too much. All right, this is what I'll do, Sarge. I got you, brother. Are you gonna make the purchase right now? I'll do it right now while we're on the phone. Let me see what I could do for you, man. What can I do for you, man? It's not way cheaper. It's only way cheaper if you get them all at one time. Let me see what I could do for you, man. You purchased courses from me in the past, right, Sarge? If you did, man, I appreciate your business and I want to keep you happy, man. So I got you, brother. Don't you worry about it. Let me go ahead and see what we could do here. Mr. Just Because I know 425 is cheap. I know that, Mr. Just Because, but honestly, it is Black Friday, and I'm rocking out. And listen, next year I got so much more heat coming that is like I want everybody to have all my courses. Everybody who's watching this, I want y'all all to have the whole collection. Like if you got one of my courses, I want you to have them all because I want you to have the system and I want you to get into my methodology and really understand where I'm coming from. Um, so my goal is to try to make this where it makes sense for both of us. This is extreme and this isn't going to happen a lot. So for anybody who is taking advantage of this. Kudos to you because I'm telling you right now, I can't do this forever. You know what I'm saying? But I will do it for now. You know what I mean? And time is ticking, guys. For real. I'm on here on live every day promoting and promoting me. The day after this sale is over, I don't want anybody shooting me emails say, "Hey man, I just missed the deal. Can I?" Because I get that all the time. As soon as I cut a sale, "Oh man, if you would have just left the sale for one more day." Listen, I'm on here every day. I was on here for 4 hours yesterday. Like I'm on here every day. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. This is what it is. You feel me? So that's it. Sergeant Rock Ray. Okay, so let me see something real quick. Let me see what I could do here. Um, so what was the three courses that you wanted? Let me go ahead and look at this. Philly Show, create product. Okay, let me see here. What should I call this? What kind of should I call this the let me see. Philly Show footwork and fight unorthodox. Are you saying fight the opposite stance? I don't have a fight unorthodox course. Is that fight the opposite stance? Is that what you're asking for? The southpaw versus orthodox? Is that what you're asking for, Sergeant? Let me know. Okay. All right. So let me go back here for a second. That's what I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write custom. Good one, Garrett. Custom bundle. Let me see here. I don't even know if I know how to do this, man. Let me see here. The custom bundles, man. Custom bundles. See what I do for my people, man? The custom bundle. Oh, okay. I got it now. How to box the opposite stance. Boom. So let me do the math on this too, so I can see what I could turn this into for the record. Sometimes I move too quick. All right, so that one's 250, right? How to box the opposite stance. Full price on that is 250. All right, so boom. Okay, then we got to go to the Philly shell, which is 250. Okay, so that is 250 plus 250, 500. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and do the footwork, right? The beginner footwork course. Okay, footwork drills. All right, boom. That's 100. All right, so we're at 600. All right, 250, 250 plus 100, 600. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and this is what I'll do. I'll give it to you for 500 plus you get the 75% off. So you're gonna save 100 right off the bat doing it this way. All right. You're gonna say this is a custom bundle, man. Custom bundle. I got you already in here. All right, let me see here. Yep. We got the custom bundle coming out right now. All right, so boom. One-time payment, 500, right? So it is 500. All right. So let me see something real quick. All right. Who's in here? I got it processing right now, Sarge. So we're good. Just give me a few minutes. Coach is giving 75% and the custom bundles. Listen. I do what I can, man. I do what I can. I'm on the offense right now, showing love to everybody right now. So, it is what it is, man. All right, I know how I could do this now. Yo, Sarge, drop your email for me in the chat. You can send it to me privately, however you want. The best deal is the master pack for 425. Absolutely, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. You could drop that email privately to me, Sarge, and I'll go ahead and I'll send you your link. Let me go ahead and try to chop it up with you guys real quick. I plan on buying more. I have 2 bundles now. Ray Richards, man, I appreciate you, man. I'm new to your material, coach. It's 425 for all your programs. Thank you. Yes, if you go ahead and you spend 425, you will literally get every course that I have as of today. Now, we do plan on dropping Build You from the Ground Up 2.0. I got 1.0 out already. 2.0 is coming out. And then of course, we got how to box from the inside coming and how to box from the outside coming. So when those drop, the bundle price is going to change, obviously, because I'm adding more heat to it. But as of today, 425, and you'll get everything that I currently have, you know what I'm saying, on the site. Sergeant Ray Rock, I don't know if you're still there. Let me know. If you're still there, I'll go ahead and send it to your email. If not, I'll just delete this bundle. I only got to press a button to get rid of it. But let me know if you're still serious about getting the bundle. Eugene, 425 is half of what you pay at some online colleges for a semester of essentially worthless degree. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I try my best, man, to bring you guys the best that I can bring. And every time I can figure out a way to improve, believe me, guys, I'm going to improve. Every time I can figure out a way to teach something a little easier, a little bit better, believe me, I'm going to do that. So that's why it's good to keep up with each other, because as I improve, I'll be able to improve my teachings, which means I'll be able to help you guys even more. But the stuff that I got right now is really good, man. I know it is. I've had a lot of people chime in on this, and I'm confident that if you go ahead and you make these purchases, you're going to be very, very happy, especially for the deal that I got going on right now. Would it be the same if you just purchase each course separately at 75%? No, the bundles are cheaper. Yeah, if you get the bundles, everything at one time, you're going to save money initially, because now that's my way to motivate you to purchase more at once, right? So if you purchase more at once, you'll go ahead and you'll save money right off the bat. I mean, literally, these bundles, when the prices all go back to normal, what's going to end up happening is the bundles are going to be cheaper than if you was to only buy one at a time, except there's going to be no discount, right? So now the discount is getting the bundle. So what I'm doing now is giving you a bundle, giving you a discount for getting the bundle, and then I'm adding 75% on top of that. So really it turns out like getting it for like 80% or something, or even maybe more, a number that I never fathomed that I would ever drop to get rid of these courses. But in reality, it's like Black Friday. I want to just put my foot on the gas and let people know, listen, I'm serious when I say I want everybody to have my material. I want everybody to love it. And I want everybody to be part of the community. So I went ahead and I also gave an incentive this week to get the courses so you can get added to the community. The community is going to be a membership based community that's going to cost monthly to be part of, but with that being said, you're going to be enrolled automatically. Now, when you're enrolled, I don't know how long I'm going to keep the enrollment for. Is obviously going to be for a few months, and then of course it may change, but you're going to be enrolled. You're going to get a chance to navigate through it. You're going to get a chance to be part of what I'm doing. Once I have all the t's and dots and everything crossed and dotted or whatever, I don't know exactly how we're going to approach it, but everything is in play to get launched early next year. We're just still finishing up a few things on my end. So I said, instead of waiting to launch it, let me get people enrolled in it, so when we launch it, we already got a nice little community going. So that's my goal, guys. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get everybody enrolled in the community. The communities are gonna have live chats. It's gonna have live training. We're gonna have, you guys are gonna be able to showcase, like when, for instance, you want to give me an example of something you're doing. I'll be like, well, go ahead, let me see. You post it, look at it. Somebody like Eugenie will pop in there and say, yo, man, this is how I do it. You know, Eugenie's a coach too. You know what I'm saying? We can all chime in, talk to each other, chop it up, go over what's best, worst case scenarios. I could bring in Eddie. I could bring in other fighters. We can do demos. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. So just the community alone should be like a super incentive for you guys. 425 is cheaper than a college textbook. Humble wisdom. After purchasing all your products, I'm looking like Sugar Ray Robinson compared to my peers. Salute, coach. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Sergeant Ray Rock, what's going on? Did you ever send me your email, Sergeant Ray Rock? Rock Ray, my bad. Sergeant Rock Ray, did you ever send me your email? Not sure if you did. Not sure if you emailed me. Um, I'm trying to keep the live going as I try to help you out as well. Let me see here. I don't know. I don't see anything from you. You can send me a message right here, though. How I can send you this link. I need a way to send you this link. What's going on, guys? What's the issue you're having at the gyms, man? Coach, why don't you have a gym? Is it because it's too expensive? No, not at all. It's not about the money. It's about what I want to put my energy into at the particular moment. I had a gym for many years, if you didn't know. It's something that I did, when COVID happened and the uncertainty of businesses and everything like that. I kind of just took a step back, and I may open again, you know what I mean? But as at the moment, I just haven't. Everyone needs text like we need money. I'd be all over that 425, but I currently invest 100 a month for a family membership for my gym. Generous, I'm getting them. Thank you. Coach, you think it's good to only practice defense on some spars? Absolutely. I used to do it all the time. Sometimes you just got to focus on your defense, how you get better. But I wouldn't just focus on defense with somebody who really can hurt me, right? Like I'm gonna focus on defense um, with people that I can handle, so I don't get hurt. So I'm gonna be, blocking and slipping and shoulder rolling and doing all those types of things. But I have to make sure that I can handle the opponent in front of me. Like if the person's beating me down, then I'm gonna have to start swinging back, right? So I think there's a balance. So if you're gonna work defense only, try to find somebody who you're better than, somebody that you're more experienced than, and work on that. Now, if you don't have enough experience, then then maybe you don't worry about that right now. But if you have experience, enough experience to handle yourself decently, then you get a guy who maybe weighs a little bit less and has less experience, somebody that could throw the punches and is not no real serious threat, and you just work on picking shots and slipping. I think is a great drill to get better at defense. I already know what Eugenie's trying to do. Get in here, baby. Get in here. I know what you want to do. Get in here. Come talk to me, Eugenie. Come talk to me.
Hey,
Look,
how are you, Coach
look,
Anthony?
look at
Everything
Gary.
good?
Just steal your show, Eugenie.
No, I'm not going to try to steal the show. On the contrary, I'll try to make it better. Hopefully, people will buy more of the course and the bundles.
Oh man, you're great, man. What's going on, brother?
I was going to ask you something interesting. You know how in boxing, pushing the punches is a cardinal sin kind of thing? You're
Okay.
never supposed to push the punches. But then, usually, if you go into a high guard, I can't really show you because I have the phone with my hand. But let's say you go with the high guard, both hands. Let's say a wink you right or I don't know who's that guy that fought Pacquiao, the Ghanaian guy, the African guy.
Oh,
No,
Cloudy.
Claude, exactly. So if you just go with snapping punches against these guys, they just take it on the guard. I mean, look at Winky Wright against Tito Trinidad and Jermaine Taylor. Well, Jermaine Taylor landed a few, but most of the time, he blocked all those snappy punches like they were nothing. But then, in certain instances, if you push the punch, uh, then you can break the guard. Not break the guard exactly as the gloves, but then your front foot will cross backwards. And I've seen that actually with Kovalev in a couple of fights. Even in that fight, remember after Andrew Ward stopped him in the second fight,
Right.
he fought this Colombian guy from Montreal, and he got knocked out. I don't know if you remember that fight.
Who
Kovalev did.
who got the Kovalev got knocked out?
Yeah, Kovalev got knocked out right after the second Andrew Ward fight.
I was at that fight. I think that happened in New York, didn't it? Uh,
Well, well, it might have happened in Europe, but the guy is based in Montreal, even though he's Colombian.
maybe I'm wrong, but go ahead. Okay.
Anyway, in their rematch, Kovalev won the rematch after getting knocked out, and the other guy was using a lot of high guard and pretty good with the high guard too.
I think I might have been at the rematch in Madison. I think it was in Madison Square or the Barclays, one or the other. But anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, so Kovalev was pushing on certain shots as opposed to snapping them, and he was just breaking his guard, his stance, where his lead foot was going backwards. And then once that was happening, then Kovalev followed up with some snappy punches, actually scoring and doing damage. And I've also seen Arthur Beterbiev, another Montreal-based fighter, using selectively. He would, instead of snap his punches, he would just push them, and he would get success again with people using high guard. Like I say, like Winky Wright, I never saw him against a fighter because he had amazing high guard defense, but most of the fighters that he fought, they were just snapping their punches and he was just blocking them like they were nothing. Well, not everyone, but in general, I'm speaking. So, what do you think about this idea where, pushing the punch is a cardinal sin, but in some cases it can actually be beneficial?
I think what happens is in training in the beginning, these cardinal sins are more so fundamental laws that we try to teach boxers so they can build good habits overall. So sometimes you may have you may do something that is a cardinal sin, but you're doing it from an experienced perspective. So now that you have experience, you know why you're doing what you're doing. But if you're going against, like for instance, keeping the foot on the inside of a southpaw, cardinal sin. If the southpaw beats your foot, cardinal sin, right? But there is moments when you're boxing a southpaw or boxing the opposite stance, like I like to say the name of my course. When you're boxing the opposite stance, there are still tactics you can do with your foot on the inside, even though technically we teach you the fundamental principle to keep your foot on
Right.
the outside. So it's the same thing with what you're saying, right? Pushing the punches, pulling a hook. Like, I don't like to teach to pull a hook, but I understand that it happens. So we may understand that we'll pull a hook. Maybe if I'm the taller guy and somebody throws a hook, I'll pull it as opposed to rolling it. But typically, you don't teach to pull a hook, right? You either block the hook or roll under the hook. But sometimes we'll pull a hook. So there's things that we're going to do that are cardinal sins in situations, but hopefully we're doing it from a place of experience that we know why we're doing what we're doing, as opposed to you teach a kid to push with his punches and now he's doing it all the time. And now when he's supposed to be ripping and snapping, he's pushing and he's building that bad habit over time. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course, of course. I see 100%. And no, actually, yeah, you're right. I think you said in a podcast yesterday, you can't feed a baby a steak or something like that. So
Yeah, yeah. I got that from my man Billy Briscoe. He said, "Can't feed steak to a baby." I love that. I love when he said that because it's the truth. Because you try to explain certain things to certain people who haven't reached a certain level of understanding in their journey yet, and then what happens is they just uh they don't get it. And then years later, maybe if they humble themselves to learn it, they'll say, "Oh, I get it now." So let's just say you was to tell a guy that and he didn't reach a level of experience where he may understand why you may want to push through, or he might say, "Oh no, that's wrong. You can't do that." But then meanwhile, it's like, well, hold on, we have a reasoning of why we're doing it. So I just think once you get to a certain point, you're more open-minded to certain tactics, because if you drill anything, you can make wrong right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at Mayorga, look at Maidana, look at these guys who's been throwing these chopping down shots that come down like this. I mean, you see a lot of these guys doing it, and it's just like that's wrong, right? But it's working. So if it's working, then how is it wrong? You
yeah,
know what I mean?
for them isn't wrong, but and another question I wanted to ask you as well. Well, actually, two more. Just let me know if I'm prying too much. If I'm prying too much, just cut me off.
No, but let me just go ahead. I'm gonna bring you back, but let me just answer this super chat. I like to answer them when they people be
Absolutely.
Thank you, just because Coach, you have a very detailed course set up. Wish you best of luck. 425 is a deal of the century. I have to build my library solely on a serious note. I wish I can afford a full camp. Well, if I ever do a full camp, I'll keep you guys posted for sure. But thank you so much for the kind words in the super chat, Mr. Just because you're much appreciated. But go ahead, Eugene, man. Let me know what you was
I
thinking.
see. I see a lot of fighters, even on professional level, getting pushed back very easily. For example, we saw even last fight, Deontay Wilder against Tyson Fury. He was getting pushed over all the time. He was getting pushed from corner to corner. I only got like 5% battery, so let me just try to find a charger here. And anyway, I also do wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling and freestyle wrestling. And in wrestling, there
You're a
in the clinch,
badass, man. I don't want to fight with you, man. You got a lot of weapons, man. You got a
no,
lot.
no, no, it's not about that. It's just pretty much in wrestling there is a tactic where, again, in boxing it would be pretty much a cardinal sin, where you would straighten the back foot and put it flat. Where in boxing, in the stance, you would bend the back, the rear, the back knee more so than the front knee, and you would lift the heel a little bit. But if you pretty much plant your foot completely and even straighten your knee, something completely wrong in boxing, but while in the clinch, it is very, very hard for somebody to push you around, to push you backwards. And I'm surprised that not many boxers are using the simple adjustment while in the clinch. Because if you're not in the clinch, having this type of stance with the back foot extended and being flat, obviously that's danger. That's you're compromising your defense. But in the clinch, when somebody's pushing you around, like Tyson Fury was pushing Wilder, so many fighters, so many other fighters too, are getting pushed around, and they're physically strong. but they just don't have the technique. And what do you think about that?
You know, I'm not too educated in wrestling, but what I will say is you kind of answered your own question in a sense that you're compromising your own particular offense a little bit by doing that. So if if I'm in a clinch and I bend my knees a little bit more as opposed to locking them out, now I can still work as I'm tying up, right? So if I'm tying up with you and I want to work on the inside, if I want to shove off and keep working, if I keep my boxing stance and maybe drop a level slightly lower than my boxing stance, like I tell guys when they're in a clinch to drop their body weight just a little bit more than they would. So then therefore they're more solid to the ground, their feet, their stance is nice and solid. And then from there we could be tied up, but eventually the goal is to break through and get back to working. So I think with my legs straight like that, maybe in a temporary situation, it could help. I don't know. I never practiced this technique that you're talking about, but I just feel like from a defense and an offense perspective, that's the reason boxers don't do it, because we want to be able to still have an offensive mindset to punch. And with our legs locked like that, there's no way that we can be effective with anything of any significance.
Yeah, it makes sense what you're saying. And also, even in wrestling, by lowering your stance, essentially you're making yourself a more difficult target to move because your gravity is lower. So that works also. But some fighters, like I was looking at Deontay Wilder, he was very straight, but then his feet were just not set. So yeah, he could have lowered himself the way you just explained how you could do that. And my last question. Uh, this question might be stupid, might be I don't even know, but I've never seen it done. I've tried it with a couple of trainers, and we drilled it and we sparred it a little bit, and it actually worked. And I was surprised that it worked because I have James Toney's entire career DVD set. I have Floyd Mayweather's entire career DVD set. I paid a lot of money for these DVD sets, and I was a big fan of the shoulder roll, still am. And I've never seen, when you shoulder roll the right hand, most of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, your counter is either a straight right or a right uppercut, right? Am I wrong in that?
You are correct.
However, and sometimes, let's say, especially if the fighter who is doing the shoulder roll is a smaller stature or shorter person, let's say like myself, I'm like 5'7" on a good day. So let's say I do a shoulder roll, and there are tricks actually to beat the shoulder roll. Instead of throwing the right hand completely, you just touch the right shoulder and then possibly shoot the jab through the middle. But I've noticed a lot of times where I've done the shoulder roll with somebody savvy, somebody longer as well, who knows how to attack the shoulder roll, they would just keep their distance, and the right hand counter or the right uppercut in my case as a shorter person and with shorter reach is much harder to land. They just keep their distance and just probe you. And even when Bernard Hopkins was fighting against Kovalev just kind of, he was tricky in keeping his distance as well. Not that Bernard Hopkins uses the shoulder roll that much. So then I never seen this happen ever. Never seen this technique. Like I said, I've seen all of James Toney's fights, all of Floyd Mayweather's fights, but I've never seen actually somebody shoulder rolling the right, whether it's to the body or to the head, and then shooting an up jab. And we drilled it, and it actually works. I'm an old guy now. I'm 40, but yeah, I've never seen this, but it makes sense because obviously the right hand, by the time I swing it, they're keeping their distance. And with the up jab, actually, I can do a half step forward after shoulder rolling the right hand, whether it's to the body or to the head.
So you
What do
want
you
to know
think
my
about
thoughts
this?
on that? You want to know my thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course.
I mean, look, if my hand is low and you shoulder roll, I can see how maybe you can push the arm up and land it. Why not? Um, I think that if you do that technique, it's going to be more of a disruptive thing more than anything. But for the most part, if I'm shorter than a guy Now, I'm not looking to shoulder roll and counter back with a punch. I might just shoulder roll just to not get hit with the shot if I'm standing in that position. And then maybe from there, I may bend down and slide right or something of that manner. Um, I wouldn't try to shoulder roll, put all my weight on my back foot, and come back with an uppercut with a taller guy with longer reach. I'm leaving myself exposed
Yeah.
for a left hook, right? So the right hand's gonna fall short. You know what I mean? So all they got to do is throw the right hand and then throw the left hook behind it. So for me, I think that maybe you were just trying to shoulder roll from too far of a distance, and that might just not be the right choice. But as far as the up jab, never thought of that. Never really put too much thought into that. But it can work. I can see it because I mean I'm here, and we sometimes we jab from that position, so it's not a terrible move. I don't know how much I would put thought into making that part of the system. Maybe I would, I would have to put it into some play first. But for the most part, uh, not something that we really drill. It's just not something that we really do. I just feel that the reason why it's not drilled that much probably is because it's one of those shots that is like, I don't know how effective it's going to be in the long term. So I just think that like a shoulder roll right hand, a shoulder roll uppercut. I mean, these are shots that we've seen guys get knocked out time and time and time again. And I just think that right there, maybe maybe I don't know, and and honestly, if the right hand is hitting my shoulder, then, I'm going to have to wait till a slight second after to go ahead and shoot that shot. Because if I'm tied up with the punch, then I'm going to have to wait till I'm done to shoot it. Whereas if I'm throw shoulder roll, boom, it comes right off like rapid fire. You know what I'm trying to say?
I know. And when we drilled it initially, it was a little bit slower, but then after a couple of days of drilling, it became like a second nature.
Well, then,
So
I mean, maybe look, if it works for you, then stick with it.
it did work. There's a lot of guys that pretty much don't know how to attack the shoulder roll, even if they're tall, they would just fall over their punches. But I don't know. I don't know. It was just an idea, and we drilled it a couple of times. But surprisingly, like I said, I've never seen a high level elite fight actually do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some thought into that and get back to you because that's not. I think that a lot of the things that we do in boxing is what's taught to us and what comes natural to us, right? Like some things we do instinctively, other things we do because we were taught it, we drilled it, and then it became instinctive. And if we never had anybody teaching that to us, then we're not gonna do it most of the time. Now, I never put much thought into that particular move, that particular technique. I'm gonna put some thought into it now that you mentioned it, and see if I can come back to you with a more educated answer on what you're asking me. But for the most part, that's not something that I've drilled ever with any of my guys, and that's not something that I have as part of my repertoire. But
No, and my question to you is obviously I think you're more knowledgeable when you have more experience and more access to professional fighters as well. And if they can pull it off, then that's a proof that this could work. Because me pulling it off against somebody that is not even an open class competitor, that doesn't mean a lot. That doesn't carry a
well,
lot of weight.
that's another good point. You can do a lot of wrong things right when you're levels above the person that you're boxing.
Exactly.
But when you start to box, the only reason I'm saying that also is because, like I said, if somebody's throwing a right hand with some real conviction, right, and you're shoulder rolling it, there's a lot going on right there at that particular moment. You have to think about that too, right? The right hand's coming, a guy's really trying to hit you with it. We're not talking about a guy just going like this. We're talking about a guy really trying, and it turns your whole body. You know what I mean? You're already here. You want to come back with something of some real conviction as well. That's the reason why we drill the boom, boom. If we do that, or sometimes we don't even want to come back with nothing. Sometimes we're just happy we didn't get hit with the shot
Yeah,
clean,
yeah.
and then we just get the hell out of there. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No, and I know at first look when
And
you
you'll
look
be
at it.
so surprised how many guys that learn the shoulder roll technique very well, but they can't counter with it, right? So there's guys who will shoulder roll, but that's as far as they can go. They'll shoulder roll, they'll bend the waist, but that's as far as they can go. They don't got the confidence to really shoulder roll and come back with that cross the way Floyd Mayweather did, the way James Toney did. A lot of guys shoulder roll, bend the waist, and leave. They don't shoulder roll counter. Shoulder rolling and countering is 2-strike, 3-strike black belt stuff. To be honest with you, to do it at that professional level, you really have to freaking have good timing, good confidence with it, because to punch off of that, it's a very, for a lot of guys, it's a scary thing to attempt. So they'll just shoulder roll and they'll just leave. I'm glad I didn't get hit, thank God, and they get the hell out of there.
And you know what? This ties a little bit. Yesterday, I purchased your course, Counter Punching and Setting Traps. And in that video, you and Eddie, you're working a lot, for example, where you lean back from the jab and you come either with a check hook, or with an uppercut, or even sometimes with an up jab after pulling back from the jab. And then the motion is kind of similar, even though you're not, I'm sorry, when I roll my left shoulder, my right shoulder rolls here, the camera is messed up. Anyway, even though you're not rolling with the shoulder in a Philly shell type thing, you're still leaning away. And you were doing it pretty good. I mean, it was pretty amazing that those counters to the jab by pulling back and shooting an up jab, or shooting a regular jab, or shooting a check hook, or shooting an uppercut.
Right. Yeah, Eddie put his twist on that one right there. Eddie was putting some of the twist, right? That he was sneaking that uppercut to the body, I believe.
Yeah, that was great though. That was great. I appreciate it 100%. It was amazing. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more of your time. I know there's a lot of people in the chat.
I appreciate you, man. You're a lot of fun to talk to, man. And keep on educating yourself. Keep on being open-minded. That's the key to this. And the key is, man, listen, a lot of stuff that we do today, at one time, people weren't doing it, and now we're doing it, right? So everything comes with being open-minded. That goes for a lot of fighters and trainers and stuff as well. So just because we haven't seen it done before, that doesn't mean in the next 10 years, 15 years, it won't start getting done. It won't be effective. We're constantly learning. We're constantly evolving as creatures. And this isn't the end of boxing, right? The boxing is going to continue forever. And I just think that that's how ideas come to play, and you try to figure out ways to implement it into your boxing. So keep being open-minded like that.
Speaking of which, off the top of your head, could you come up with a technique that it has been used more so by today's boxers that wasn't used in the past? Maybe. I know that's a crazy question, but
that is a good question. I don't see anything. That's the only thing I will see, though. I will say, I feel that fighters from the past did more stuff than the fighters from today. I feel like the fighters now do less things. Not necessarily that the fighters today aren't as good, which I don't believe they are as good overall, because the talent pool in the 90s, late 80s and the 90s was super high. But the guys that are good today are really good. I think guys today are just probably a little bit more efficient. Maybe they figured out ways to do less to get more. I do see certain things that I didn't see in the past, but a lot of people will tell you happened in the past. Like when Lomachenko used to peel the glove down, right? Peel the glove, right? Guys got their hand up, you peel it and you shoot the shot. I didn't see too many guys doing that in the 90s and in the 80s. I didn't see that too much. You know what I'm saying? I seen it becoming a trend. In the last 5 years, a lot of guys pulling that off. Even though it might have gotten done in the past, it didn't become as prevalent as it is today. Stuff like that.
Me on my end, I see one thing that is more prevalent in today's boxing that maybe in the past. Even though maybe I haven't seen enough of old fights, but I see that switch hitting is more prevalent now. You have a lot more fighters who are switch hitting. Maybe not at the best level, because back in the day we could only think of Marvin Hagler, and he wasn't switching all the time, but he was a switch hitter. But that's the example that we had. Right now, off the top of my hand, quickly, Andre Durrell, amazing switch hitter.
But Andre Durrell, I mean, well, how recent are we talking? Because Andre Durrell's been around for quite a bit of time.
Well, I mean, last 10 years.
Okay.
Andre Durrell. We
To me,
have
Andre
Terence.
Durrell's already like I'm already looking at him like a guy from before. But okay, we're going back to the '80s and stuff like that. You're trying to say?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you know what? Me and you are in the same boat. I didn't study a lot of guys from that era. A perfect person to bring back on for that question would be my man Billy Briscoe. He's a historian. He would be
Exactly.
the guy that would give you he could probably name off the top of his head 10 guys that used to switch hit back in the day. But the guys that are really good, like today, okay, so we got Terence Crawford, very famous switch hitter. Jaron Ennis, good switch hitter.
I saw David Benavides was switch hitting quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I guess he switches, but
even though he doesn't have exactly the most technical style.
Right, like I grew up watching guys that switched it too. You know what I mean? I've seen, for one, I've seen what guys might do it more often now, right? I've seen Andre Ward switch hit. I've seen Andre Ward switch hit. I've seen Floyd switch hit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Eric Morales, one of my favorite Mexicans of all time. He used to switch hit on a regular basis. You had quite a few guys that switched hit in the history of boxing. I just think that right now that we just happen to be in a time where a lot of the good guys are switch hitting. Sometimes a lot of guys used to switch hit, but they weren't at the top of the craft. So even though they were switching, they weren't super successful at it. Like right now, Jaron Ennis is a hot up and coming fighter. He's switching. People are noticing it. Crawford, world champion. People are noticing it now. But there's been switch hitters throughout the history of boxing. I can assure you that. But maybe guys are being most open-minded. My boy Christian was saying that yesterday. He was basically bringing up switch hitting. Is that the future of boxing? And I basically told him, I said, look, man, I just think that if you can do it, then do it. I don't think it's the future or the past. I think it's something that's part of boxing that if you can do, you do it. And if you're not that good at it, you might want to be careful doing it. Because if you're a half-ass southpaw and you decide to switch and I could tell you're not as good, I'm jumping on you right there. We used to do that to guys in sparring. Kids will switch and I'll be like, jump on them. That would literally be my instructions. I say jump on him because I know he's not as comfortable as a southpaw. He wants you to take your time the same way you were. Jump on his ass. Test this southpaw out real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, that's
No, but what you mentioned was really interesting because I came up with Andre Durrell, Ennis, and Crawford. But you also mentioned Morales, Andrew Ward. They were fighting still after year 2000. And even Mike Tyson now comes to mind. He was actually switch hitting while on the inside, where he would.
Mike Tyson used to switch hit very well. He was excellent with switches.
Switching. So go ahead. Apologies.
Oh yeah. Billy Briscoe. I know what you were gonna say. Billy Briscoe would give you he'll literally off the top of his head say boom, 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 and by the end of the conversation, you might say, "Damn, there was more switch hitters back then." You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, I think that switching is a beautiful thing if you can do it. It's beautiful, man. Like when a guy can switch, like Andre Durrell, I've seen him switch in a clinch one time where you didn't even notice he switched. When he came out the clinch, he was southpaw. And I was like, yo, did you see that? I had to rewind it like 3 times. Like Andre Durrell was a fantastic switch hitter. Like
he was amazing.
One of the best I've ever seen at it is Andre Durrell. Hank Lundy, somebody who I personally trained. He was a fantastic switch hitter. You know what I'm saying? He could fight just as good on either side. So some guys can do it, some guys can't. You know what I mean? But other than that, that's really the only thing. Another thing that I do notice that a lot of fighters do today is the jab to the body. That's one I do want to say. Fighters of the past would bend their waist more. That's how I teach it, to bend your waist as you jab to the body. If you notice guys like certain guys, they'll jab from the body right from the center more than they do bending the waist. You'll kind of see them. They'll shoot it right from the middle. Like
Shakur and Loma are very good with the jabs to the body I'm just surprised they don't even bend at the waist and they rarely get countered. So
Right.
their timing is like on point, like something crazy. I don't understand it.
You know who else does it too? Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather will vary both. Floyd
But
Mayweather,
sometimes he would lean.
yeah,
Sometimes he would
he'll
lean.
lean sometimes, and then other times when you see him on the heavy bag, ha, he shoots it from right
Yeah.
there. So I think that the purpose of that is to not telegraph it as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
So, but it's a risk reward, right? You don't telegraph it, but you're in the center. You know what I mean? But if you bend the waist, you might telegraph it a little bit, but you're off the center. So everything has its pros and cons. That goes back to what you were saying, where would you do this? Would you do that? Or would you push
Cardinal
the
sense.
gloves? Would you push the gloves or would you not push the gloves? It goes back to if you know why you're doing what you're doing, you could do it. You know, if I know I'm jabbing from the middle, but I'm faster and I'm sharper, then I might take that chance. I might say, you know what, is a risk I'm willing to take. But if I know that, man, this guy, he's really good at countering over the top, then what I'm going to do is feint high, drop low. I'm dropping low. I'm putting the catcher's mitt there because I know that he might be bringing that right hand over the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do it based off of what he's been doing already, based off the patterns, that I picked up in the first round by working my jab, working my feints. That's how you pick up patterns, right? You work your feints, you work your jabs. You take your time, you give him a little bit just to see what he's willing to do. And then once you know what he's doing, that's when you go ahead and you start switching and you start doing different things, to kind of counteract his patterns. So
Actually, something. I just remembered the fighter, one of my favorite fighters. Maybe I watch a lot of these old school fighters, but Montel Griffin. I don't know if you remember that guy.
of course, how can you not? He beat
He was
James
a very
Toney.
he, he was a very. Pardon me.
He beat James Toney.
Yeah, he beat him fair and square. he beat Roy Jones. Well, he got disqualified.
He gave Roy Jones hell the first fight. Roy Jones got disqualified the second fight, but he gave him hell the first fight.
But speaking of shoulder rolling and then shooting the jab, he wasn't shoulder rolling as much, but he was doing that half stance, like the way you explain it, and he got a very very good up jab. So I'll look at some of his fights, especially when he was in his prime, just to see how he was using the jab. If he was using the jab off a right hand, rolling with the right hand, then shooting the jab. Because I remember him having he's a 5'7" guy. He's a very short guy, and had a very very stiff up jab, and that's how he was getting and a great double jab as well. That's how he was getting guys like Roy Jones and James Toney, who had probably more talent than him. That's how he was giving them so much trouble.
Right. Nah, he was.
But yeah, amazing fighter. Amazing fighter.
He was a better fighter than he got credit for, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he definitely. Everybody remembers him for that second fight for Roy Jones, and they forget that he's beating some good guys. You know what I mean?
And even when Tarver beat him, Tarver kind of hit him with a rabbit punch at the back of the head. So, and he was old by that time. But anyway,
right.
That's how boxing goes.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, thank you for having me. Hopefully, I didn't take too much of your time.
Nah,
I appreciate your knowledge once again.
That was good, man. I appreciate you getting on here, and we'll talk again. I'm gonna keep this going as long as I can. You know what I mean, for the next 2 weeks. So you might see me 2 times a day. Who knows? So whenever you can get in here, get in here.
Oh man, I'm crossing my fingers so the stars are aligned.
All right, my brother. Thank you, Eugene.
Take care. All the best.
Yes, sir. My boy Eugene coming here with the heat, the good questions. You know what I'm saying? The real good questions, man. Let me go ahead and rock some of these comments real quick. Guys, let's keep it going, man. Keep everything going. Christian, I see you back there, man. What you got for me today, man? I gave you a whole consultation yesterday, man. Where's my check at, man? I'm looking in my account right now and I don't see no more zeros, man. Can you explain to me what's going on? What's up, baby? What's good?
I'm a schoolboy. I ain't getting this paper yet. In the future, though.
I hear you. Now I'm playing, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to have a conversation about like weights and what heights would you recommend for certain weights?
What heights would you recommend for weights?
Yeah.
I think once you get to like that 147 area, you're gonna be somewhere in that 5'8", 5'7", 5'8" area. Once you start getting to that 150, if you're an amateur 152, if you're a professional 154, you're starting to touch that 5'10", area. And then I think once you start getting to 160, you're somewhere in that high fives to six, and then it just keeps
Wow.
going up from there. I think that if you're, let's just say, uh, 5'10" and you're a 130 pounder, you're relatively tall for your weight. 130 pounders, they're typically 5'5", 5'6". Guys who are 135, they're around the same thing. Once you start getting to the 140s and 147s, now you're starting to talk about the 5'7s, 5'8s, 5'9s of the, you know what I mean? And depending on how tall you are typically means how much you'll fill out as you move up in weight, right? Like look at Boots. Boots is like 5'10", 5'11", 147. I mean, he might be even 6 foot. I don't know. He's close to it. And I'm pretty sure he'll be 154 after he's done campaigning at 140 or 47. I'm guaranteeing he'll go to 154, maybe end his career at 160. But he's tall enough to do it, you know? I think once you
So
get to like 5'10", 5'11", you can kind of campaign at middleweight, junior middleweight. Maybe if you're really good like Canelo, you can go up. You know what I mean? Like you see, Canelo was good enough to do it, but a lot of guys aren't. You have to be on top of your game to be able to keep going up like that. You really have to be much better than the guys you're fighting. You know what I mean?
yeah. So what would you say height and reach? Like, what would you give a percentage on the advantage you would have with height and reach?
I don't know if I would give a percentage on that. I think that it just comes down to the fighter. I just think that if you're a shorter fighter and you know what you're doing and you know how to fight for your height, you know how to set the pace, you can make anything work. I mean, look, Canelo just beat a guy that was like 6'4", and then after that he fought Kovalev, and then I'm saying, he just fought Caleb Plant, who's 6'2". I don't think that it really is really about that. I think it comes down to who are you and do you know how to use your strengths? You know what I'm saying? And some guys don't, some guys do. I've seen tall guys that get knocked the hell out all the time. They get hit with overhand rights and they get killed to the body and they don't know how to handle it. And then you got tall guys who were really, really good at being tall guys. And those guys are relatively, the guys who you're like, oh, he's really good because he's really tall. But no, he's really good and he's really tall. And that's why you think he's really good, because he was tall. It's because he's really good. He knows how to be tall. I've seen tall guys that don't know how to fight tall. You know what I mean?
So then what you're saying is height isn't really a advantage or a disadvantage. It's just how you use it.
Absolutely. It's definitely, I mean, in theory, is an advantage. In theory. But once you start to really know the game and you really understand boxing, anything could be an advantage. You know what I'm saying? As long as you really know how to use it. Like somebody with really poor technique. We always refer back to Ricardo Mayorga for this. Or even Mike Donna. I was doing my freaking episode got banned because we were studying Mike Donna yesterday versus Floyd. Those guys have very poor technique. Like if you was to see them hitting the bag, shadow boxing, and you didn't know who they were, you would say this guy's horrible. This guy sucks. I don't think he could fight worth a lick. You see him get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, and you're like, oh shit, Floyd was having trouble. You see Mayorga fight Vernon Forrest, who was much taller than him and much better boxing than him, and he got his ass whooped by Mayorga twice for the world title. So when you see these situations, you say to yourself, that poor technique was actually an advantage because he was so awkward and he was so poor with his technique that the good boxer didn't know how to handle it. So, because good boxers, they want everything to be perfect. Oh, he throws a jab, I slip the jab. He throws the cross. But when you got a guy just swinging, you're like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, that's not
Yeah.
boxing. You
I
see
had
what I'm
that
saying?
experience before. When new people come in the gym and you spar them, you have a tendency to get tagged because their shots aren't like textbook shots and you're not used to slipping,
Exactly.
rolling.
Right. Because
Yeah.
right now, when you're working with your trainer, what do? I'm gonna throw a jab, you're gonna outside slip the jab. I throw the cross, you're gonna outside slip the cross. I throw a jab down the pipe, you might block it. You throw a left hook at me, I might block it. You throw a cross at me, I might block it, shoulder roll it, whatever. But now a guy's throwing the shot like this. We're not doing this. We're not practicing like that. We're practicing as if everything goes as planned. And when things don't go as planned, that's when you really got to buckle down, because now it's no more about. So that's why it's good to train for those situations if you do have a trainer who is willing to work on those situations. But sometimes when you're so bad, it can be good. Sometimes when you're so short, it can be good. Sometimes when you're so tall, it can be bad. You know what I mean? Because you're so tall, you can't really do a lot of the things that a guy who's mid-height or a little bit shorter is a little bit more mobile. You know what I mean? You got those long, lanky arms. You can't get your combinations off how you want to. So sometimes when you're shorter, it's like boop, boop, and them punches come off. You know what I mean? The taller guy, you've seen it where they
Yeah.
look kinky. You know, they
For
don't
me,
look as sharp.
I'm a shorter fighter, and what I notice is when like tall fighters shoot out their shot, how their arms are longer, it would take a longer time for most of them to retract their arm after they throw out a punch. So it's like a bigger window to counter.
Right. And then they got their feet be sloppy. Like being super tall can be an advantage if you got a guy who really knows how to do it. Like Klitschko back in the day, he was
Yeah.
fantastic at being tall. He knew how to control you, and there was nothing you could really do about it at one time. You know, guys like that who really understand range control, they can be a nightmare. But, you know, being taller, if that was the case, then all these basketball players would say, I'm going to transition to boxing and I'm just going to be beating up all the shorter guys and be a champion and a pro NBA. Like, just being tall isn't enough. You got to be good and know how to fight tall. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Klitschko, he was tall, but he wasn't like lanky, awkward tall. He was like, those people who like look like they're not in their own body, like they're not used to their own body and moving around in their own body. He was like a person who was like taller, but he had good control.
Right.
He had a good job. He had a smashing job.
He was trained very well by Emmanuel Stewart when it came to being tall. You seen a big change when he got with Emmanuel Stewart. And that was like Emmanuel Stewart's specialty, was teaching tall guys how to be tall guys. That was where he had his strengths. You know, every trainer got their strengths. You got trainers that are really good at teaching guys how to fight on the pocket, other guys who could box really well. And for Emmanuel Stewart, it seemed like anybody who was tall, like he was able to work wonders with Tommy Hearns. He did really good with Klitschko. You know, even his protege, who never really was technically so great, but he was still a solid fighter, Andy Lee. These guys were all linky, tall, tight body frames, and Emmanuel Stewart took a liking to that style, and he really mastered teaching it. And you could see that it rubbed off on Klitschko. Lennox Lewis, how can I forget Lennox Lewis, right? Lennox Lewis was another guy who Emmanuel Stewart basically turned his career into a Hall of Fame career because he really knew how to teach Lennox how to use his advantages. But if you don't got somebody who knows how to work those advantages, man, then they can be detriments. You know what I mean?
So you see you and your fighters, would it ever come a time you would like advise your fighter if he's too short to like cut weight to try and make a class that is a weight class what is easier for him? Or would
if he's overweight. Only if he's overweight. If he has no body fat on him, then we're gonna have to make it work, man. I'm not gonna make a guy cut weight if he has no body fat on him. But if there's weight to be lost, then yes, we're gonna take some weight off of him. You know, if I got a shorter guy and he's got a tire around his stomach or some extra weight, then I'll say, oh, bro, you can probably drop another 10 pounds. Let's try to get it down. But if you're already sticking bones, man, then I got to work with what I got. You know what I'm saying? We got to make it work.
So what about muscle? Like, do you take account like muscle mass? Would you ever make a fighter try and cut muscle mass? Like if he's like a you know, some people come from lifting weights and they go into boxing and they still have that extra muscle what isn't like so much useful for boxing. Would you try and get them to cut that muscle, or would you try let them be like a bulky short fighter?
Well, I'm gonna tell them to lay off the weights. I'm gonna tell them, you know what I'm saying, to you don't need the weights, right? You already got the muscular frame. We don't need to add more to that. So I mean, I'm just gonna see where your body naturally takes you through the boxing regimen that I'm gonna put you on. So I'm gonna put you on a regimen. We're gonna put you on a nutrition plan, and we're gonna monitor how things are going. We're gonna monitor how you're feeling, right? All these things matter. Like I can't just have you being a zombie in the gym because I want you to fight in a lower weight class. What help is that? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, listen, lay off the weights. Try to eat, you know, a good diet. Try not to overeat. Do the right thing so we can see how low we can get your weight while feeling good. The key is how low can we get you in training while feeling good? So when it's time to cut, we only have to cut a certain amount of weight. If I want to go ahead and try to cut a guy 30 pounds for a fight, he's gonna be dead in the fight. What good is it to be a skinny guy who feels like a zombie? There's no good in that. I need you to be able to perform. It's about performance also. We can't take away from the performance. It's not a bodybuilding contest, right? Where it's just about looking good for 1 minute. It's about performing in a professional or amateur fight. And we need you to have good energy. We need you to feel good, feel strong. You know what I mean? You know, there's a lot of dangers that come into cutting weight. So you have to make sure you do it very intelligently.
Yeah, I was asking because I was wondering about me because I'm 5'7", and I usually weigh around 160, and I was told like a good weight for me would be like 140, like to cut to 140. But I'm not really. I'm really like I came from other sports. Like I came from lifting weights and basketball and a lot of weight training. So I was wondering if cutting like 20 pounds would be good, or I have to take it in steps.
I mean, I mean, 5'7", 160 is a bit of a difficult situation that you could be in. But think about guys like Dwight Muhammad Kawi, who was able to be a short fighter who did very well in the higher weight classes. He was a shorter guy. Um, you have to be able to, if you can't get the weight off, then you need to learn how to fight based off of your body structure. People told Mike Tyson he was too short for the heavyweight division, right? What did Mike Tyson do? He's a Hall of Famer right now. So if you're not going to fight in a manner that benefits your muscular frame for your height, which is probably going to have to be more of an aggressive style because you're going to have a lot of disadvantages when it comes to reach, then you're going to have to either figure out how to fight out of that particular body frame that you have, or you're going to have to figure out how can I get this weight off in a manner that is not going to be detrimental to my health. So with if you're going to go the cutting weight route, the key is take your time when you cut the weight. Um don't try to do it in a rush. Don't try to, you know what I mean? I could tell you're not a professional fighter. You don't have anything lined up. You have time to work on that. So while you're working on your craft, which is improving your skill set, getting better, you're also working on your nutrition. As a guy who comes from bodybuilding or weight training or whatever, that really you should only be losing anywhere from half a pound to a pound a week to really take the weight off in a healthy manner, right? 2 pounds is actually technically called aggressive. If you're losing 2 pounds a week by the whatever it's called, I'm trying to think of a right word, but basically 2 pounds a week is called an aggressive weight cut, right? That's 8 pounds a month, right?
Yeah,
You do that for 2 months, you're looking at 16 pounds. You do that for 3 months, you just lost 24 pounds. That's an aggressive weight loss, even though 2 pounds a week doesn't sound like a lot. You tell somebody, listen, man, I can get 2 pounds a week off of you, man. They're gonna be like, man, I'm trying to lose 5 pounds, man. What are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? But 2 pounds a week is actually technically an aggressive weight cut. Now, if you're, I mean, not a cut, but a weight loss. Let me clarify the two. Weight cutting and weight loss are two different things. So you're gonna slowly get the weight off. It might take you, since you already have a lot of muscle, you might actually only lose half a pound a week. So what if it takes a year to get that 20 off of you? See what I'm saying? It might take you a year to take that 20 off of you. How many weeks is there a year? 52 weeks? You're losing half a pound a week. So now we're doing it in what? 20 is 40, 20 something. I'm not the best at math. 25 weeks, 26 weeks is going to take you if you're losing it a half a pound a week. So, you know, that's something to think about. Don't rush it. You know what I'm saying? Try to lose slowly. You know what I mean? And just as you're losing, you're getting better. You're getting better. Your skills are getting better. You're still sparring. You might even still be fighting. You might pick. We used to fight guys into shape. We used to fight guys as they were losing their weight as an amateur.
Whoa.
We'd
I
fight.
don't have, I don't have good experience with that. I'll
Oh,
tell you. So this was like recently. I cut down to 150. 150. I was doing, intermittent fasting. So I was intermittent fasting. I would run in the morning without breakfast and eat between 1 and 7 o'clock. So one day come like Friday, we spar every Friday. So I went in the gym. We did sprints before we went into the ring to do some sparring. So when I went in the gym, like everything was wrong. Like,
now that's a red flag. I would never sprint my guy before. I mean, let me not say never, but that's going to be hard already. You just did sprints and now you're sparring. That's not really protocol most of the time. Maybe if you're trying to accomplish some sort of a freaking red alert training method where you're like, yo, I'm going to sprint you and then I'm going to put you in the ring because we want you to fight under these high intense situations. But typically we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't sprint you first and then have you spar because you already killed yourself sprinting. But anyway, go ahead.
so yeah, I hopped in the ring. I was sparring like it's a high level. He's a high level amateur compared to me, at least.
Okay, so that makes it
And
even
yeah,
worse. But okay,
yeah,
that whole situation is bad. Just so you know,
yeah.
that whole situation's not good. Just so you know. But okay, go ahead.
So I hop in the ring through the ropes. Round one went smooth. I hold myself off. I mean, I put up a good fight. Round one. But then the second fight, the second round, I start throwing my jab. My jab go weak. Jab go weak. Start every jab, my hand drop a little bit lower. He was catch me over with the right counter over my lazy jab. Damn. He was pushing me back. And then third, I made it past the second round onto the third round. At that time, I just spark against a rope. I could have feel like we have something in our gym, like it ain't like you could just quit. Like I'm not sure in your gym if you guys just quit during sparring, but in our gym you can't just walk out the ring and say, "Oh, I don't want to do this no more. It's too hard," or you know what I mean, right? Like,
Right now, that's basically how boxing works. Once you commit to sparring, you got to finish your rounds.
yeah. So yeah, third round got knocked down. He hit me with I can't even remember. Like I was so tired I couldn't even remember because
So
my
let me
legs.
so let me say something real quick, right? So because Caesar went ahead and wrote, "Why not?" I'm sure he's assuming I said that it's not good what you did. Okay, first and foremost, when you spar, you want to be lightly warmed up, and then you want to save your energy for sparring, Caesar. So I mean, I'm pretty sure you might, Christian, you're listening to this. You're sprinting. That's a very intense thing to do. Sprinting is not easy if you're really sprinting the way you're supposed to. That's one of the most difficult things you could possibly put your body through. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to spar. But we're not just sparring anybody. We're sparring a high level amateur, according to Christian. Okay. Then the high level amateur doesn't sound like he's taking it easy, because he literally got knocked down in the whatever one of the rounds. That is dangerous. That is recipe for disaster. Now, I don't want to talk bad about your gym. I don't want to talk bad about your coaches. But what I am going to say is this: under my tutelage, I would never do that to one of my fighters. Now, if I am going to make my fighters sprint, and I'm going to go ahead and make my fighters spar, there's a reasoning behind that. There's a reasoning. So maybe I'm going to sprint them and sparring, which I probably played around with this once or twice, just to get his heart level up. And it's only going to be one set of sprints. We actually did this one time with the amateurs, but the person that was done sprinting got to work the offense, and the person who was sparring had to work defense. We actually did that drill one time before. My fighter, under that kind of extreme exhaustion from sprinting, to go into the ring and have to compete against a guy better than him, that's just not good. We don't even like to work our fighters too hard the day before the fight, let alone the same day. So this is just something that I wanted to get off my chest as you're telling me the story, because I don't want people to go ahead and think that that is a good protocol to take onto their own personal training. Now, Christian, you're part of a gym. Big shout out to you. I hope your coaches got your best intentions in mind when they train you. Now, the not quitting part, I understand that comes with bravado of boxing. It's not your job to want to quit. It's your trainer's job to protect you in these situations. Okay. So if you're my fighter and I see you're taking punishment, you ain't gonna have to worry about quitting, because I'm gonna say, stop. Yo, Christian, come in. How you feel? Get out the ring. You ain't gonna have to worry about quitting, because I got you. See, the coach's job is to have the fighter's back. I got you. You ain't got to worry. Now, if we go and we're sparring and the sparring gets intense, but you're still handling yourself, I'm going to let you handle yourself. I'm not going to stop it. Why? It's intense. Sometimes sparring gets intense. That's part of the game. But if you're getting pulverized, I'm stopping it. You ain't got to stop. The number one thing a trainer has to do is protect the fighter from himself. That's one of the number one things. You saw what happened with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder didn't want to quit. His trainer had to stop the fight. The other day, over the weekend, we just seen the same situation where the trainer threw the towel in for my boy when Benavidez fought. Breadman here from Philadelphia threw the towel in for Kyron Davis. That was a good decision. Kyron Davis wasn't going to quit. That dude was going to fight his ass off. But guess what? His coach had his best interest. So these things are very important. So I hope your coach hears this. You could show him this clip. They need to have your best interest. You are an athlete. You are the athlete. They're not fighting for you. You're fighting. Y'all don't give a shit if it's sparring. Motherfuckers die sparring. All right? People died sparring before. If you don't think it's true, Google it. Fighters have died sparring before. So don't think that it can't happen to you. And I'm not saying that your situation was that bad, because I didn't see it, but I'm just talking in general. When you go into a ring and you spar, and everything has to be presented in a professional manner, whether that's the beating you're taking, the condition you're going into, what kind of shape you're coming in. If you come off the street and you haven't been training, you think I'm going to put you in the gym to spar one of my top guys? You get killed like that. So I'm going to say, no, you need to give me some floor work for about 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, depending on your experience. And then we'll see how you feel. Sometimes longer than that. I just went on a rant. I know you know what I'm saying? But this is serious shit, man, that you really have to take. You don't play boxing, Christian. Remember that. If you can get anything from this conversation, you don't play boxing. Every time you step into that ring, your life is at risk. I don't give a shit if it's a spar. All it takes is for a shot to hit you the wrong way. That's all it takes. One stupid ass punch. It doesn't matter. We're all one punch away from our lives changing forever when we're boxing. Remember that. We're one decision away from our lives changing forever. We're one situation away, bro. So always remember that shit. Take this shit serious, dog. Don't play with it.
I know, but so when you think I should think about that, like right before a big fight, or when would
You think about that shit from fucking the day when you in the gym. You think about everything starts in the gym, not a day before. It starts the moment you walk into the gym. The moment you come into the gym, things have to be ran in a certain manner. Things have to be ran in a certain manner. It's up to the person who's running the program. It's like a business. If you walk into a business and there's no fucking person at the front desk to talk to you, there's no shit in the store that you want to buy, you're gonna say, yo, who's running this place? Yo, there's nothing on the cabinets. I got nobody at the front desk. I'm trying to buy something and there's nobody here. Who's the boss? I want to know who's the boss. This is getting on my nerves. It's the same thing with a training program. You just got guys sparring after sprinting, and you got another guy sparring a guy. There's no coach paying attention. You got this going on, but who's running the program? It's up to the person running the program to create structure. Because if it's up to the athletes, they're going to do whatever the fuck they want to do. They're going to slack off when they want to slack off. They're going to spar when they shouldn't be sparring. I used to be hitting mitts sometimes, and I look over my shoulder, and I see two kids with headgear on sparring without me. But yo, what y'all doing? Oh, we just going to get out the ring. What? There's nobody watching the sparring. Get out the ring. You see what I'm saying? You have to earn a certain level of trust with me for me to let you spar without me watching. And it's because you've been boxing under my tutelage for a very long time, and you know what's expected in the sparring, and you're sparring somebody that I know you can handle. So if I'm putting like Eddie Chambers in the ring to spar with one of my beginners, I can walk away because I know Eddie's not going to hurt the guy. I know Eddie knows how to work. Eddie's a professional. So Eddie's going to, he's going to help the kid. But I'm not going to let two guys who really want to get at each other, really want to spar each other, spar without supervision. And it's the same thing with the training regimen. You know what I mean? If I'm not seeing you working hard, I got to be on your ass. If I'm seeing you doing dumb shit, I got to be on your ass. This shit is serious, man. Boxing's serious. This ain't no game. At least to guys like me, it ain't. And to the trainers that I know, the ones that taught me what I know, we take this shit serious, man. So something like sprinting and then putting you in the ring with a fucking guy who's way better than you, that's one of the fucking most idiotic things I've ever heard. I would never do that to you if you were my fighter. I'm telling you right now. So that's just something to think about.
Okay.
Sorry for yelling, but it's the truth, bro.
Yeah.
This ain't about blood and guts, baby. This is about brains. It ain't the toughest fighters who win. It's the smartest one. You understand what I'm saying? And that goes for your training. But Christian, I'm going to go ahead and talk to the rest of the people, man. I want to say thank you for coming in here, bro. And you're welcome anytime, okay?
Okay.
All right, my boy. Oh, my bad. I ain't mean to cut you off. All right, guys. I just went in a little bit, man. You know what I'm saying? But this is listen, this is my platform, and I'm here to give y'all real boxing talk. I'm not here to bullshit you guys. This is the truth. This is serious. Boxing's not a game. You know what I mean? So I really need you guys, everybody who's part of this, to understand how serious we take this sport. So, you know, I just hope that this message got across to everybody. You know what I mean? You don't play boxing, man. We don't just say that to sound cool. You know what I'm saying? We don't just say that to sound cool, man. We say this shit because it's the truth. We don't play boxing. You know what I mean? I'm a coach. So as a coach, this is just my natural tendency, whether I'm working with fighters, not working with fighters, whether I'm providing content on YouTube, whether I'm selling you courses, I'm going to give you the truth. You're going to get the same experience that I'm going to give one of my fighters that, you know what I'm saying, I'm working with personally, because I take this shit serious, whether I'm active, not active. This is, you know, what I do for a living, and this is what I really love. You know what I mean? And I don't like to hear shit like that, man. Shit like that aggravates me, man. I'm going to be honest, because he seems like a good kid, and that's how you really get hurt. But guys, CA Black Friday 75. Save 75% off of all my courses, all my bundle packages. All purchases will enroll you absolutely free to the CA Boxing community. Some of you guys may say, what the hell is the CA Boxing community? The CA Boxing community is going to be very similar to a Facebook group where you can go ahead and you can chime in, kind of similar to what he just did, but even on a more personal level where you can post and people can comment and I can come in, I can chime in, I can make exclusive videos. We can have live streams like this because I'm not doing no days off forever, right? No days off is for November. After November, we're cutting this. You know what I mean? I might still come on here from time to time, but I'm not doing it 7 days a week like I did for November, right? But this might be every day on my other platform, which will be my VIP community. This might be part of the perks. I don't know what the perks are going to be, but there's going to be a lot of them. And if you purchase something off my website, you're going to be enrolled absolutely free. This is a no-brainer. This is the cheapest you're ever going to see my courses. You're never going to see them cheaper than that. I mean, I'm dead serious when I say that's as low as I can go with them. You feel me? So I hope you guys take advantage of that. And let me see if anybody else is in here. We got Scott. Appreciate your boxing IQ, man. I appreciate you, Scott, for being in here, man. You know what I mean? ISO Joe says, speaking facts, bro. I appreciate that, man. Listen, I gotta give it to my young boy, real. You know what I'm saying? Trying to come back to some of these comments up here. Coach Ant, any professional boxers that have a good, well-balanced style that we can learn from right now? I mean, I'm excited about this weekend, man. Terence Crawford, man. Take a good look at him, man. That's a really nice balanced style. He can fight just as good on both sides. He got good power, good boxing IQ. He's really good, man. That's a nice guy to watch. He'll be fighting Saturday. Take a look at him. ISO Joe, they're sleeping on your content for real. Yeah, man, I do feel sometimes like I'm being slept on, but it's all good, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how you want it. You want them to sleep on you because then they won't see you when you come. You see what I'm saying? So it's all good, man. I'm good. And Jeff Blazer, hey, Coach Anthony, are you accepting new members at your gym? My current coach smoked crack and only care about training his son. Sorry to hear that, James. Well, I don't got a gym at the moment, so I'm not training anybody like that. I mean, I'm doing personals, but that's more, it's gonna be much more expensive than if you was to have joined my gym when I had the gym. You know what I mean? I only do personal training. I do it from time to time, but I hope your coach can get his act together and get his life together so he can focus on you, man. Do you think some coaches let sparring go too far? Absolutely. Absolutely, without a doubt. Stephen James, thank you, coach. Coach, can you recommend any gyms in West Philly? Yeah, go see my man Buster at Schuler's. Schuler's Gym, my man Buster, man. Go check him out. I haven't been there in a long time, but Buster's a really good guy. Schuler's is a monumental gym, and that's the only gym I go to when I go to West Philly. Coach, do you think it's possible to become a champion in Hong Kong where I live? The competition is vastly different from the US. I think you could become a champion anywhere. We've had champions from all over the world, man. You just got to really want it. Put your head to the ground and get to work, man. You know what I'm saying? Anything's possible. Where's the best place to build your pro record? Mexico, Vegas, or East Coast? I mean, it depends what you mean, build up your pro record. Are you trying to get easy fights? I mean, are you trying to get good training? I mean, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, champ. You can make shorts of your videos to grow your channel. Absolutely, I'm on it, man. I'm gonna start making shorts. I've been using TikTok. Guys, follow me on TikTok, man. I need everybody in this chat right now to go to TikTok. Even if you don't use TikTok, just follow me on TikTok at Coach Anthony. Um, it's at Coach Anthony, just like my Instagram at Coach Anthony. I don't care if you even use TikTok, but if you do use TikTok, follow me on there. Drop some comments. Help me boost up the algorithm on TikTok. I'm definitely trying to pick it up over there. That's definitely seems like a platform of the future. And I don't want to be left behind with all the graveyard people in Facebook and Instagram, right? That's the graveyard for old heads like me. So I need you guys to show love to me and help me grow my TikTok channel. Share my stuff on TikTok. It's gonna get a lot better. I'm just learning how to use it, honestly. Follow me on TikTok, man. Help me grow that. I'm gonna once I get that thing picking up, I'm gonna give exclusive TikTok, exclusive instructionals for TikTok, right? Exclusive stuff for my YouTube page, exclusive stuff for my shorts, exclusive stuff for my other platform, which will be the VIP community. That's going to be obviously something else. But I'm going to have like reasons for you to go to the different platforms, right? Like, oh, I didn't see that over there, but I didn't see that over there. So follow me on all platforms, man, because we're going to go ahead and selectively post so we can go ahead and have different reasons for you to even want to follow that stuff. You know what I mean? Shorts can cause you to gain thousands of new subs. I'm on it, man. How many shorts should I post a day, Christian? Three. All right, say no more. Tomorrow, expect 3 new TikToks for sure. But guys, I'm about to pull up out of here, man. Been on here for 2 hours. Yesterday I did 4. Today I'm doing 2. I did 2 minutes and 11. I want to say thank you to everybody who pulled up, man. You know what I mean? Guys, CA Black Friday, man. Please jump on this. Let me go ahead and just see what else we got in here, man. Thanks for the free ebook. It's well put together with lots to learn. I appreciate all you do, Colin, man. Yeah, the ebook, people slept on the ebook. You can actually go to my ebook, CoachAnthonyBoxing.com right now. All you got to do is drop your email. So if you never dropped the email before, go to my website. I'm probably going to pull that off too. So make sure you guys go grab the ebook, drop your email in there, and you get the ebook, man. Build you. No, that's not build you from the ground up. That's come out swinging. A lot of good information on there. And then, of course, we got all the courses bundled up, ready to go, cheap as hell. You know what I'm saying? Real cheap, man. I mean, go out to dinner on a Friday night. You're going to spend as much as you're going to spend on one of my bundles. So go grab a bundle, man. Go get some content that you're going to have that's going to last you, you know what I'm saying, more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes of eating an expensive dinner. You know what I'm saying? Thank you guys, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm about to get out of here. Thank you guys for pulling up. Who knows, man? If I can't sleep, I might come back on here. Make sure you guys got the bell notifications on, okay? Make sure you guys got the bell notifications on for whenever I go live. You guys can just pull up in here. And Coach, I shot you an email. Don't forget, I was looking for you, my brother. I didn't see no email, Sarge. And I was talking to you, and I don't think you heard me. Okay, I got you right now. Give me 1 second, man. I'm gonna send it to you right now. Let's make this happen right now. I actually got it right here. Made a custom bundle for my man because he requested it. Can't do this for everybody, but that'll be a lot of work if people start custom bundle. But I put together really some good bundles, guys. So you guys are gonna be happy with any of the bundles. The Master Boxing bundle, hands down, is the best one, the best price, the best deal. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot you this. It's sent. Sergeant Ray, as soon as you make that, well, I'll be alerted, so I don't know. That custom bundle is sent. Sergeant Ray sent him the custom bundle. The Philly Shell Footwork and How to Box the Opposite Stance. It's out there for you, my guy. Terence or Porter, who you got, Coach? Great fight, man. Pick 'em fight. I'm gonna have to lean toward Terence Crawford, but it is a pick 'em fight. But I like Terence in this fight. Season, man, I appreciate you. All right, y'all. So if y'all not saying anything else, man, I'm gonna leave it on that note, guys. I don't know if everybody in here already took advantage of the courses, but if you didn't, if you're on the fence, now is the time to go ahead and take a risk. Go ahead and make the purchase, man. You won't be disappointed. And thank you to everybody who pulled up in here. I will see y'all tomorrow. We got a big fight this weekend. I am super excited about this fight. So we're gonna talk about the fight tomorrow. We're gonna talk about what we see at the weigh-in. We're gonna definitely chop it up like that, man. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, go ahead and post this one up because my man got it in the bundle.
Everybody wants to know how to box a southpaw. Everybody who's a southpaw wants to learn how to box the opposite stance. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna give away all the secrets. We're gonna teach you so many great things, man. And luckily, we got a guy right here who can box both stands, orthodox and southpaw, and fast in the chambers. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna learn a lot. You guys made a very wise decision. So let's not waste no time. Let's get right into it.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for the love. See y'all tomorrow.